Have you ever felt a slight chest pain while just sitting and resting? Or a tightness in your chest, like someone squeezing it whenever you climb the stairs? You think, maybe it's just fatigue, a pulled muscle, or lack of sleep, and you brush. Say it off. A few months ago, a 58-year-old man named Jim, living in Florida, did exactly that. He felt a pain in the center of his chest, but it only lasted a few minutes and then disappeared. It wasn't sharp, it wasn't urgent, it wasn't intense. He figured it was probably from eating too much fried food that day. A week later, he suffered a severe chest pain while walking down the street, collapsed, and was lucky enough that, say, a bystander called for help in time. The doctor diagnosed him with a heart attack caused by coronary artery disease that had been silently progressing for months. What's important is that initial chest pain was the first and only signal his body gave to cry for help. You might have also felt one of the 3 chest pain locations I'm about to talk about, but dismissed it as nothing serious. And that's why today we're going to explore 3 types of chest pain that may seem harmless, but could actually be early warning signs of serious issues related to your heart, lungs, or digestive system. Don't ignore them, because catching these signs early could save your life or the life of someone you love. Before we dive in, I want to ask you, have you or a loved one ever experienced chest pain without knowing the cause? Share your story in the comments below, because what you share might help someone else recognize their own warning signs. And if you think today's topic is important, don't forget to hit the like button so YouTube knows this is helpful content and shares it with more people. When people think of a heart attack, they often imagine a dramatic, crushing chest pain that causes someone to collapse. But in reality, the heart doesn't always scream for help. Sometimes it whispers. One of those whispers is a dull, heavy pain right in the center of the chest, just behind the breastbone. Many people describe it as a pressure, like someone sitting on their chest or a heavy object pressing down. It's not sharp or stabbing. It's more of a tightness or discomfort that can last for several minutes and then fade away. It often shows up during physical activity, stress, or even while just resting, and is commonly mistaken for indigestion, heartburn, or a pulled chest muscle. That's exactly why many people delay getting help, and why many heart attacks are treated too late. Central chest pain is frequently linked to heart problems, particularly when it's accompanied by other symptoms like shortness of breath, cold sweats, fatigue, or pain that radiates to the neck, jaw, shoulder, or left arm. These are classic signs of stable angina, which happens when blood flow to the heart is reduced, often due to narrowing of the coronary arteries from plaque buildup. If not addressed, this condition can progress into a heart attack, causing permanent heart damage or even sudden death. Let's go back to Jim's story, the man we mentioned earlier. When he finally went to the hospital, doctors found that 80% of a major artery was blocked. He survived only because a bystander called for help, and he received emergency treatment in time. But that first episode, a minor, dull pain in his chest a week earlier, was actually his body's first and only warning. Sadly, he didn't realize it was a cry for help, and Jim isn't the only one. Studies have shown that nearly half of all people who suffer heart attacks experience some sort of chest discomfort days or even weeks beforehand, but they didn't act on it. So when should you worry? Not every pain in the chest is serious, but you shouldn't try to figure it out on your own. If you feel repeated pressure in your chest during activity, or if a tightness lingers more than 5 minutes, especially if it spreads to your arm or jaw, you should seek medical attention. Additional symptoms like nausea, lightheadedness, or shortness of breath are also red flags. Doctors can run simple tests like an ECG or a stress test to determine if your heart is in trouble. Remember, the heart doesn't shout, it knocks quietly, and we have to listen. Paying attention to a small discomfort today could prevent a crisis tomorrow. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever felt tightness or discomfort in the center of your chest and didn't know what it meant? Drop a comment below and share your story. Your experience could help someone else recognize an early warning sign and take action in time. And if you found this helpful, give this video a thumbs up. It helps our channel grow and gets this important message out to more people. Another chest pain location that often goes unnoticed, but can be a serious red flag, is pain or discomfort in the left side of the chest, especially under the left breast or near the rib cage. This kind of pain is tricky. Sometimes it feels like a stabbing or pinching sensation, and other times it's a dull ache that comes and goes. It can be sharp when you take a deep breath, or it might feel like a soreness after a workout, even if you haven't done any physical activity. That's exactly why so many people ignore it, chalking it up to a muscle strain or something they ate. But here's the reality. Not all left-sided chest pain is innocent. In many cases, it can be a warning sign of something more serious, either heart-related or sometimes even linked to the lungs. Let's start with the heart. While the classic heart attack pain is located in the center of the chest, many people, especially women, report pain on the left side instead. It might not even feel like pain in the traditional sense. Instead, it can feel like tightness, heaviness, or just a strange discomfort that radiates toward the shoulder or upper arm. In some cases, it's accompanied by unusual fatigue, nausea, or a cold sweat, symptoms that are often misread as anxiety or stress. That's especially true for older women, who tend to have atypical heart symptoms and may not experience the dramatic chest-crushing feeling that's often portrayed in movies. There's also the possibility of a condition called pericarditis, which is an inflammation of the sac that surrounds the heart. It often causes a sharp pain on the left side of the chest that worsens when lying down or taking a deep breath. Unlike angina, this pain is more positional, meaning it changes depending on how you sit or move. But while it might not be immediately, life-threatening pericarditis still requires medical attention and proper treatment to prevent complications. Then there's the lungs. Pain on the left side of the chest may also be linked to issues like pleurisy, which is inflammation of the lining of the lungs. This kind of pain can feel very sharp and worsens when you breathe deeply or cough. Other possible culprits include a collapsed lung, pulmonary embolism, a blood clot in the lung, or even pneumonia. The tricky thing is, many of these lung-related conditions can present subtly at first, maybe just a small twinge on the side, a bit of breathlessness or a dry cough. But if left untreated, they can escalate rapidly into life-threatening situations. I want to tell you about Maria, a 64-year-old retired schoolteacher from Texas. One morning, she felt a sharp pain on the left side of her chest as she was getting out of bed. It came and went, and she assumed she had just slept in a weird position. Over the next couple of days, she noticed that the pain would return when she walked upstairs or bent over to tie her shoes. She mentioned it casually to her daughter, who convinced her to go to urgent care, just to be safe. To Maria's surprise, tests showed that she had significant blockage in one of the smaller arteries supplying blood to the heart. She had a stent placed the next day, and the doctor told her that if she had waited even a week longer, she could have had a full-blown heart attack. It was the kind of news that makes you sit down and reevaluate everything. Maria's story isn't rare. In fact, data shows that heart-related chest pain is more likely to be overlooked or misdiagnosed in women and older adults, especially when the pain is off to one side or doesn't follow the textbook symptoms. That's why it's so important to pay attention, not just to what you feel, but to how it feels when it happens and what else is going on in your body. So when should you take left-sided chest pain seriously? If it comes on with physical exertion, lasts more than a few minutes, or is paired with shortness of breath, dizziness, nausea, or pain radiating to the jaw or arm, get medical help right away. Even if the pain feels minor, but keeps returning, or seems unusual for your body, don't ignore it. It's better to be safe than sorry. In many cases, early detection and treatment can make all the difference between a quick recovery and a life-altering event. One more thing to keep in mind. Anxiety and panic attacks can also cause chest pain, including on the left side. The pain is often sharp, comes with a racing heart, shortness of breath, and a sense of impending doom. While these episodes are frightening, they are usually not caused by a physical problem with the heart. However, that doesn't mean you should ignore the symptoms. Always rule out cardiac causes first, then work with a healthcare provider to manage stress and anxiety, if that's the underlying issue. Dear friends, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced chest pain on the left side and felt unsure about whether it was serious. Did you get it checked, or did you wait and hope it would go away? Please share your thoughts or stories in the comments below. You never know. Your experience could help someone else recognize a symptom early and possibly save a life. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing. We're here to share real stories, real science, and hopefully, real help, one heartbeat at a time. There's one more chest pain location that's often misunderstood, and that's pain in the upper back or between the shoulder blades. Most people wouldn't think of this as a warning sign from the chest at all. They might assume it's a pulled muscle from bad posture, a stiff neck from sleeping wrong, or just stress settling into the shoulders. But in some cases, this kind of pain can actually be your body's subtle cry for help, and it shouldn't be ignored. Let's start with a story that might sound familiar. Peter, a 59-year-old warehouse supervisor, had always been the tough guy in his family. No complaints, no doctor visits unless absolutely necessary. For weeks, he'd been dealing with a dull ache between his shoulder blades. He thought it was from lifting boxes or spending too much time hunched over the computer. A couple of Advil would help, and he'd go on with his day. But one afternoon at work, that pain got worse. Not unbearable, but heavier, almost like someone had pressed their fist into his upper back. He felt a little sweaty and slightly dizzy, but brushed it off and kept working. It wasn't until later that evening, when he nearly collapsed at home, that his wife rushed him to the ER. The diagnosis: a type of heart attack called a posterior myocardial infarction, the kind that presents not in the front of the chest, but in the back. This type of heart issue is far less talked about, but very real. The back of the heart receives blood from smaller coronary arteries, and when those get blocked, the pain often shows up in the upper back or shoulders, especially between the shoulder blades. The sensation might not feel cardiac at all. It can be dull, burning, or even like a deep muscle fatigue. Because it doesn't match what people expect a heart attack to feel like, it's often dismissed until it's too late. But the heart isn't the only organ that can refer pain to this area. The aorta, which is the body's main artery, runs through the chest and curves down through the back. A life-threatening condition called aortic dissection can cause sudden tearing pain between the shoulder blades. It's rare, but it progresses quickly and requires emergency surgery. The key symptom is a sudden, intense pain in the upper back, sometimes described as feeling like you're being stabbed in the spine. If this pain comes on suddenly, especially with shortness of breath, chest pressure, or fainting, it's a 911 situation. Don't wait. Pain in the upper back can also come from the lungs, especially if there's a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that travels to the lungs. This can cause pain in the upper chest or back, along with rapid breathing, coughing, or a feeling of panic. Again, the symptoms are vague, but they matter. One more possibility to consider is gallbladder disease. It sounds strange, but gallbladder issues can refer pain to the chest and upper back. Especially after eating fatty meals, people with gallstones may feel pressure under the right side of their ribcage that radiates up to the shoulder blade. It's not life-threatening in most cases, but it's definitely uncomfortable and worth checking out, especially if the pain keeps coming back or is paired with nausea. Now, let's talk about the biggest mistake people make with upper back. Pain, they wait. Because it's not sharp or crushing, and because it's not directly in the chest, people assume it's nothing serious. They self-medicate, they stretch, they sleep it off. But here's the truth. Your body has no reason to send you strange, lingering pain unless something's wrong. And the upper back, especially between the shoulder blades, is one of those blind spots where cardiac pain can quietly hide. If you ever feel pain in this area that you can't explain, especially if it comes with other symptoms like sweating, fatigue, chest pressure, or difficulty breathing, it's time to take it seriously. Don't second-guess yourself. Don't wait for it to become unbearable. Go get checked. Now, I want to pause here and hear from you. Have you ever felt unexplained discomfort in your upper back or between your shoulders and thought it was just a pulled muscle? Did you ignore it or get it checked? What did it turn out to be? Your story might help someone watching this video realize their normal ache could be something more. So please drop a comment below and share your experience. Even if it turned out to be nothing serious, It could help someone make the right decision, and if this video has helped you see chest pain differently, not just as something that hits the front of the chest, but something that can whisper through your back or shoulders, please give it a like. It really supports the channel and helps spread this life-saving information to more people. You never know whose life it might change. In the end, pain isn't just pain. It's the body trying to speak to you, sometimes calmly, sometimes urgently. The key is to listen early, act fast, and never assume that silence means safety. So let's take a moment and reflect. Chest pain isn't always the dramatic, crushing pressure in the center of your chest that we see in movies. Sometimes it's a quiet ache under the left breast. Sometimes it's a strange discomfort between the shoulder blades. Sometimes it's just a sense that something's off. But all of these subtle signs are worth paying attention to, especially if you're over 50. And even more so if you've got risk factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking history, or a family history of heart disease. The most important takeaway here is simple. Your body whispers before it screams. And chest pain, in all its surprising forms, is often one of those whispers. The pain might not be obvious, but the message behind it can be life-changing if you choose to listen. Early detection, early action. That's how we save lives. So, here's my question to you. Have you ever experienced unusual chest or back pain and weren't sure what to make of it? What did you do? Did it turn out to be something serious or a false alarm? Share your story in the comments, not just for me, but for everyone watching who might be sitting at home wondering, is this pain something I should worry about? Your voice could make all the difference. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and consider sharing it with someone you care about. We talk a lot about prevention here, because one good decision, one trip to the doctor, one early checkup, can change the course of a life. Take care of your heart, listen to your body, and never be afraid to ask, could this be more than just pain? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.